chub today are proving fairly hard to catch. I started off fishing in front of me and I had a quick bite, but unfortunately, as is often the way on these spate rivers, the feeder got jammed in between the rocks, and by the time I got it back the fish was long gone. I've moved the rod down to the left onto a nice sandy area that I knew was there from fishing in the warmer months. Since I've positioned the bait there, I've been getting a few knocks again, so hopefully we'll get a bite soon. Now I'm fishing fairly simple today. All I've got is a feeder that's packed with 2mm pellets that have just been soaked in water, and the hook bait is either corn, luncheon meat or bread. All I'm doing is just catapulting 6mm pellets over the top every 5 minutes, just to keep the swim nice and active and keep some scent going in, and let them pellets just roll down the river bottom and hopefully pull the fish up towards where the bait's going in. Now a twitchy bite like that often means that it's a trout. Trout are very common in this river as it is stocked with them for the angling club. So I'm fishing really simple today. From the main line it goes down to a Drennan feeder, to a swivel, 12 inch of semi-stiff braid, down to a Drennan specialist barbel in size 8. On the hair I've just got a big chunk of meat. I'm using a size 8 hook because the river's really snaggy and sometimes you just need to give the fish a bit of pressure. In the feeder all I'm doing is just packing it out with 2mm pellets. After a quiet morning with only the one out of season brown trout to show, I decided to give it a move up to the top end of the river. Now when you get this far up the river, the terrain changes quite a lot. The riverbed's just made up of big boulders and it's a really harsh environment. However, during the warmer months, people that are fly fishing quite often report chub sightings. I've chosen this corner as it's where the water slows and it drops a lot of sediment and creates a nice sandy bed. Now it's worth noting at this point that I dramatically increased the size of the hook bait. I was using a piece of meat that was about 1.5 inches square in order to try avoid the trout. Now it's vitally important that you keep mobile on rivers, especially at this time of year. So I moved another 2 times before settling on my final place for the evening. This was a nice, deep and slow flowing stretch with plenty of overhanging trees for cover. I also decided to change over the rig. I opted for a hook link of 2.5 feet long and decided to get rid of the hair completely and fish the meat with the hook pushed inside it. I decided to fish into the close margin up tight to some overhanging trees. The presentation looked absolutely perfect, but unfortunately I just could not escape the trout. Well, there's no more fish today. I'm going to see if I can get down a bit later on in this week if this weather warms up a bit, but I'm fairly sure there's meant to be some snow. And snow it did. I woke up the following morning to about 4 inches of snow on the ground. There was a couple of hours break and then at about 2 o'clock it started to rain, quite heavily at some points. Nonetheless I decided to head back out, and it made for some miserable conditions sat under the brolly. I wasn't expecting to get too much time fishing as the snow started melting fairly rapidly and I was expecting the river to come up a lot faster than it did. The weather was dismal, but I decided to head back down to the same spot that I was at yesterday. I had a little change of tactics. I wasn't entirely confident on how the afternoon was going to go, especially with the days leading up to it. I fished for about 3 hours up until 4:30. But as you'll see, that was all the time that I needed. Here we go. Lovely chub. £3.14. 3 SSG shots. Down to a size 8 curve hook. A pinch of bread just down the close margin. Rod hadn't been in the water for more than a minute before it ripped off. Here we are, another lovely chub. This one about the same weight, 3.5 to 4 pounds. It's amazing what a difference bringing the changes can do. The weather's certainly cooled down as you can see, but now it's started to absolutely chuck it down with rain. Once all of this snow melts, the river's going to rise really rapidly, and that's no good for the fishing. Generally it makes it a bit too cold from what I've found. So really this will be the last day I'll be able to get some fishing in this week. So I'm glad it's all paid off in the end. So the first fish that I landed was really deeply hooked. It was almost the full length of the disgorger just to get it out. The second one was absolutely perfect, about an inch back in the mouth. And that's because what I did was I shortened the hook length just a little bit. And I did that by attaching the shots in a way that allows you to So I've actually just had an absolutely awesome fish, £4.7 I think it was. Got it here, did a piece to video, realised I hadn't hit the record button. Absolutely gutted. But it just goes to show that persistence does pay off. I mean, it's way colder today, and in theory it should be harder to catch them. But if you just switch it up a bit, the fish are there to be caught all year round. I'm absolutely made up with how today's going. It's certainly made up for the last couple of days. That rod's been out all of about 30 seconds. Cast it out, set the camera up, had a take. I actually had the take as I was still focusing the camera. I've said this bit twice because I'm not sure if I'd turned the microphone on when I first started. Feels like another good fish. This will be number 4 in maybe an hour and a half, maybe a bit less. Hopefully it makes up for the one that I didn't get on video. I don't think it will. It doesn't feel as heavy. But it doesn't matter. Either way, it's made up for the last couple of days. Well, how's that for an absolutely belting fish? I can't quite remember how big it was. I think it was £5.6. Something along them lines anyway. Certainly the biggest one I've had by far today. Absolutely made up with that one. Fish number 4 or 5. Can't quite remember. Yeah, absolutely buzzing. Well, here we go. Another absolutely outstanding river year chub. This might be my last one today because the river's starting to rise a little bit and my truck's parked on some fairly low ground. This is another good fish, 4.5, maybe £5. Absolutely pristine condition as well. What a day. This river's got some amazing chub fishing in it. And further down, it's got some amazing barbel fishing too. And it's massively underrated. Purely just because it's a tricky river to fish. And also, there isn't that many people that actually fish it unless they're fishing it for the trout. But the chub stocks are unreal. There we go. Yes. Well, this really is the last fish of the day now. Cracking one to end on. Maybe nudging £4, a bit under, probably upper 3. Absolutely amazing session. Been here about 3.5 hours, something like that. I think it's just coming up to 4:30 now. I've lost count of how many chub I've had. Maybe 8. Something like that. Every one of them has been on bread flake. Just goes to show, you don't have to be the most skilled angler in the world, you just have to be the most persistent one. Not sure if this is in focus or not. Hopefully it is. Okay, this is the last one. I felt like I had to get another one because that last shot wasn't in focus. I really hope this one is. Awesome, absolutely awesome. I'm going to knock it on the head now. I'm going to go home. I've got no doubt I could sit here until dark and constantly keep on catching them. But I need to get off. So, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, see you next time.